All right, guys, welcome back to another live episode of Muscle Discord every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. You know we're going to be here, and we're going to give you updates. We're going to recap what happened during the week. But this one is going to be a special episode, live episode. And we got some other guests joining us. We have Walter Martin, IFBB Pro Walter Martin, joining us today. He competed at the Masters Olympia, right next to Phil. Obviously, the Jamaican take, Phil Clahar, man, welcome back.
Yes,
What's up,
sir.
brother? Good. And you might notice that someone's not here. Ron Harris from Ron Harris Muscle is not on the show, right? Ron Harris did 28 episodes on the show. Started last year. And I might as well address this right now off the top. Ron decided to leave the show. And I got to be like, I can't make up a lie and be like, well, okay, what's the reasoning why Ron left the show? He left the show because he's concerned that he's not going to get interviews from other athletes because he's on this show. That was his excuse to leave the show. And I guess maybe the powers that be and, you know, whatever, I don't what's behind it, but it's not the best excuse. I had Ron on the show because he's got a ton of experience. He's been in the industry for a very long time. He's been interviewing all the athletes. He's been on the ground level at the local shows, the regional shows, nationals, pro shows. So that's why I had him on the show. And it seems like he's a little bit worried, scared, whatever. And again, he's been on 28 episodes, and he's been doing multiple interviews with pros ever since he's been on the show. It never seemed to have affected him. So I was just a little shocked that all of a sudden he decided to say, no, I can't do this anymore. It's too risky for me. And I get it. You know, you got to do what you got to do. But that's why Ron isn't here. I wish Ron the best. Right. Phil, if you have anything to say too, with regards to Ron leaving, he was with us all those episodes. You were there with me and Ron the whole way. So anything you want to say?
Just very brief. I mean, first I want to address, everybody was basically saying that I was, wise Phil yelling at Ron and whatever, so forth and so on. It wasn't yelling. It's a grown man talking very stern, recapping of things he has done in the past that he was not doing for the Master Olympia. And I wanted to bring that to his attention. And it was just a clear me, voicing my opinion. He could have also defended it and say, no, Phil really wasn't yelling. He was just, trying to get his point across. But instead, he used it as a narrative to say that, I was angry because he wasn't agreeing with us, which if you notice, we stayed quiet when he told his opinion about me and Dorian. We never fought him on it. We let him talk. So I don't know where he got, I was angry or because whatever he claims. I'm going to give him mercy, man. Ron is I really wasn't going to, and, Patty had to talk me down, but I'm going to give him mercy because I did text him. I told him to do better. I'm the wrong person he wants to mess with, and for him to do better. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But he needs to be honest.
Yeah.
We're posting that picture talking about no more Mr. Nice Guy. Listen, man, you are who you are. You can't just be a tough guy if you weren't already a tough guy in the very beginning.
Yeah.
So all we were just saying is, as a journalist, be straight up. Don't be scared if somebody's not going to come back on your show. That's their job, is to also challenge things, to get to the real point, not just sugarcoat it for whatever case it may be. So I wish him the best, man. I really do. And I hope, he can do better.
Yeah.
I hope he can get people on his show. But that's all. That's all I can say. I was going to dig into him really bad, but I'm going to give him mercy. I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah. One of the comments was like, he's afraid because Nick Walker hasn't accepted an invite to his show, and he's been trying to get Nick Walker on. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think Nick Walker cares. You've been on the show again, 28 episodes, Ron. So if you're worried about that, you shouldn't be. Just be yourself, and don't say you're going to be no more Mr. Nice Guy, because then you're like, are you being real or are you being fake? Like, who are you? Like, just be you, right? Do what you do. But to put that video out there didn't really make sense. It just kind of made you look, I don't know. Strength Addicts, man, welcome to the show. Second time on the show. Can you hear me
What's up,
okay? Is your
brother?
sound
Yeah, I
good?
can hear you. You guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Very good, very good. I think I'm
All
gonna like
right.
try to make it brighter. Just ignore me. I'm gonna play with
Yeah.
my LED light here.
And we do have another guest joining us, so you guys got to keep watching. We got another guest joining us here shortly, so we'll wait for him to pop on. He's going to be a little bit,
Oh wow, that's horrible. Leave it there.
little,
So what were you
little bit
guys
late.
talking about, Ron? Is that what you were
You were
talking
talking about,
about?
yeah. You wrote an article, so you have some input in this. You wrote an article about Ron and him leaving, and so gonna give your take on this.
I think that was like he was put in a really bad spot because I like Ron a lot, and with MD he always did his own thing, and he's always been pretty honest. He's never been controversial, but what Bob did to him, basically, he tried to take his whole livelihood away from him because he tried to make him into an anti-federation type person. He was scared to maybe miss out on one or two interviews with you, right? Bob was going
Mhm.
to make it as to where nobody would talk to him, and that was totally unnecessary. But that's Bob's style.
Yeah. Bob, we're gonna get into Bob Cicherillo here shortly. Um,
And also,
Go ahead.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Matt, but also, I mean, both Bob and Sean are to blame, but I really like Sean. I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I haven't really dug into Sean too much. They both kind of did Ron dirty, but I feel like Sean is more on co-pilot. I think this is more Bob's like MO than his.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, Sean, again, he's accomplished things in his life, right? As aside from Bob Cicherillo, who's just a talking head right now, a puppet, if you want to say it. And yeah, I mean, I respect Sean. I mean, Sean does say some critical things, but that's Sean. That's been Sean's MO from when he was even competing. He was speaking out, and he would be very critical of things. So that's just who Sean is. But we'll get into that. But the main focus here right now is Bob Cicherillo. We're going to get into the Masters Olympia. Walter, just kind of introduce yourself a little bit to the people here. Give us a little bit of background on yourself and the shows you've done recently.
All right. Walter, like you said, I've been a pro since 2015. I actually turned pro with John Meadows. He was my coach before he passed away. And I tried to do, like a couple 212 shows when I first started out. Somebody gave me that idea and it was a horrible idea. And then during that time, I went through a lot of different injuries, cancer, arches of my feet collapsing, bicep tear, just probably 5 surgeries in the last 10 years that I had to, keep coming back to bodybuilding. But I just keep coming back because I love it. It is a like bodybuilding has made me who I am. Like, I have a pretty successful business. I own a gym, 23,000 square feet. And before bodybuilding, I was one of those lost guys, had jobs, hated, did decent, just went to work every day, but absolutely hated it. Found bodybuilding, later in life, in my 30s and just, about 31, I always worked out, but I just actually hated bodybuilders because when I was younger, they were very cocky and used to kick me off machines. And, this is the early 90s. So I just never thought about it. And then one day I'm sitting there and I was like, I met a couple bodybuilders and I actually had foot surgery and I gained a bunch of weight. And when I went back to the gym, I was telling them that, I used to be in great shape. I was 180 jogging and you know how they look at you like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I actually became a bodybuilder just to try to compete against them. I was like, I'm going to beat y'all, but now they're good friends of mine. It was never anything crazy, but I never stepped on stage with them. I still wish they would because it would be fun for me.
Awesome. And you did the Masters. You placed 8th at the Masters.
Yep.
Okay, so congratulations on that, man. That's an accomplishment. Top 10 at the Masters Olympia, and you were there with Phil. You were
Yep.
next to Phil on stage. You saw Phil
Well,
backstage.
not next to
Not
Phil. I
next to
wasn't
him.
that lucky.
You were in the first call.
Yeah, I was in that second call out. I
Yeah,
seen him, but I
you seen
definitely
him.
wasn't next to him.
Okay.
I wish I was next to him, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
next time we get on stage, I can be blessed to be good enough, to be in better condition to get next to him.
Yes. Yes. But you were there. You saw him in backstage. You saw the other
Oh yeah.
competitors. You saw Dorian, everything. And
Yep.
we don't want to drag this on, but we want to get to the root cause of like why we're voicing our opinions and standing up for what happened at this show.
Right.
So in your assessment, watching the show and then coming home and looking at the videos and the photos, what did you have happening at the show? What did you think should happen?
100% honesty, like at the show when as soon as we started getting undressed, I saw Phil and I saw everybody else, and I was like, well, shit, Phil's about to do really well. You know what I mean? Like it was an instant notice because of, his conditioning and, good size and everything. And then when we were on stage, I'm watching him and I was like, yeah, he's going to win, that 100% honesty. Like, I try to be fair and cause I'm friends with, shit, I can't even remember the guy's name, but yeah, Dorian. Yeah, like, I'm real cool with him. I mean, I don't know if I could say friends, but we're very friendly whenever we see each other. We've competed against each other a few times. And he was a very thick, very muscular, but, he lacked condition. He knows it, So I didn't see it as he was going to win, to be honest. Like I said, he didn't look bad. He beat me. Now my wife thought that he won, but she's been watching bodybuilding for about a year. So it was like, but when I came home and I watched everybody's videos, I was like, well, I could see a little bit more of why people may think this, but my thing was like, I still had Phil winning. But I could see why people could say this. Like once you break it down and say, oh, this person is, their legs are bigger, they're rounder. When they give their excuses, even though if they're not an honest excuse, because sometimes, people, it may not be so honest, but I don't know. But I know for me, whenever I look at bodybuilding, conditioning is first. And then, you go size, symmetry, and everything like that. But conditioning is first before anything else.
Yeah. Can you tell me your name one more time? I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with names.
Walter.
Walter, I'm Christian. Nice to meet you.
How you doing, brother?
Good. Let me ask you. Well, you were there. You were on stage. I mean, you weren't at the judging table or
Right.
like 20 rows back. What do you make of this nonsense that Phil quote unquote fell apart at the finals? Like what
I
you were there.
definitely, I didn't see that. There's no, and I'm a couple feet away. Now, I don't have a judge's eye. I actually got one eye, because I'm blind in the other. But I know what I see. And now I wasn't looking to see if he fell apart, but I damn sure didn't notice it. And I would have. Like if he came out sweating buckets and, soft, and he made this huge difference, I really do think I would notice. Like I said, I wasn't looking for it, but I would have noticed if he fell apart.
That's and I'm going to be quiet here in a second, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. You weren't looking at Phil. You were worried about yourself, obviously. But if somebody falls apart, it would be like an eyesore. You know what I mean? Like everybody would, and that just didn't happen. It just didn't happen.
No, it didn't. It really didn't happen. And I honestly remember the thing I kept looking at is Phil's back, and I kept saying, God damn. You know what I mean? Because that's my most lacking body part. And I was jealous as hell of the back. So I'm just sitting there watching it, and nobody's back was it wasn't even comparable, So I'm sitting there looking at it, and, I just didn't notice some falling apart or once they said it, I went back and watched again, and I still didn't see it, even though the video was pretty bad. But you still just like, I remember being there. I just don't see the falling apart thing. Now they could say other stuff like, maybe the balance, from the upper to lower, they didn't like it, but they wouldn't have liked it in the first, in the prejudging. So I'm not real sure.
Yeah, I mean, Bob did a interview on EP09, and Bob was just using all the talking points. Phil fell apart at the finals, and his stomach was distended, and that's why he lost by 9 points at the finals. And there was no pushback really from EP09. If you're going to interview someone, don't let them run the show and get all their narrative and their talking points out on the show without any real pushback. So I want to give little EP09 a little tip there. But with Phil in the finals, I didn't notice any real difference with regards to his conditioning or any issues with him controlling his stomach to the part where he fell apart. And that was their excuse. He just faded. He faded. He got water, got faded, and he fell apart. The stomach lost control. And we're seeing. Go ahead.
I don't want to hijack the. I mean, this is your.
No, we're here. You gotta speak up. You're in the show. Let's speak your mind.
Okay. So there's what we're talking about now, but there's also something that Phil and I talked about, and I think that you and I talked about, the timing. Why did these guys wait so long to come out swinging? I mean, they didn't come out the day after or 2 days. They came out like 10 days later. Like the timing of it was really weird to me.
Well, and didn't you get a lot of DMs or something? What was happening?
I did. I put out a couple of reels on Friday the 22nd. Like everybody had already spoken, all the videos came out. I put out a couple of reels and I got bombarded with messages. Get a life, move on. Nobody cares about the Masters. And that last one was the funniest one. Nobody cares. Well, if nobody cares, why are you messaging me? You know what I mean? Like, obviously somebody cares. And then it just like, I don't know if I started. I hope I didn't. I thought I was on the end, like old news, or whatever. I write my article. That's how I write my articles. But then these guys come out of nowhere and they come out swinging hard. I mean, it's just like really hard. And it was almost like, I don't know if somebody put them up to it or what, but it just seemed weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it is definitely odd. There seems to be a campaign now. They got Guy Cisternino on the hunt here, putting out.
That's why when Walter mentioned that he got into bodybuilding because people would take out the machine, wouldn't let him work out in the machines, I was grinning a little bit because I mean, nothing against Guy, but that video where he's like yelling at those kids in the gym. I mean, he'll never escape that. That's always going to follow him around. So.
Yeah.
He doesn't like you at all, apparently.
Oh, he doesn't like me.
You're an interviewer, you suck, all these things, but he's not biased though, apparently. So.
Oh no, he's not biased. He's down the
very
center.
impartial. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Steve Weinberger shared it in his stories.
But you
Just
interviewed Steve though, didn't you?
I had Steve on the show.
You're not anti-Steve. See, that's the thing. They're gonna make it out to where you're anti-Steve or Phil's anti-Steve or I'm anti, just because we disagree with a judging, or a placing or something. And that's what they did to Ron. They tried to make Ron out to be like the arch nemesis of the NPC. Why? Because he was on your podcast. That's what I'm talking about. It's just I don't like this part of the sport at all.
For me, what I don't understand is why are people so upset that he feel like he got cheated, right? We all have our own opinions. They have an opinion of us, and we have an opinion how things went. Every person, if you were at that far ahead, it's common sense that you're going to feel some type of way if it's that big of a swing. If it's a 1 point, it's a different story. So I can understand why someone is upset. But then when you get mad because they get mad, now I'm going to have to double down because I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
Why the hell are you so mad? And I'm the one that feel like I got screwed over. Right. You know what I mean? And I seen somebody saying, well, Bob, whatever, he was like, oh, well, last year he did this, he did that. Bob, this last year. You know what I mean? would leave that stuff in the past and just be a happy man. Try to promote bodybuilding, and I like he irked me on the EP09 with that. With the
Well, tell us what irked you about it. Tell us what Bob said on that interview.
When the way he talked about the Masters Olympia. If I owned the Masters Olympia, I would have gave him a phone call. You
100%.
need to speak better about these shows. They're trying to make the Masters Olympia something better, and they actually could have did a lot more, pre-show production, get people going, but that's, a different thing. But him to speak so low of it, and it's just like, it was so disrespectful because he was just like, oh yeah, man, who cares? You think somebody really cares about that show? I did. I paid $7,000 to fly out there and do the damn show, without expectation of getting money back because I wanted to be on the Masters Olympia stage. So it was extremely important to me. So to hear somebody downplay it and disrespect it like that show was, you might as well just walk out the bathroom and shit on the floor type of thing. That's how I felt. It was so disrespectful. And it's like, well, damn, bro, like, it's man to man. You got to be better than that. You have all this, supposedly power, and you've been around forever, and be a better ambassador to bodybuilding than to always talk smack and say the wrong things about people, to people. I don't know if you're trying to get views. I don't know if whatever he's trying to do, but you just don't have to be so negative, so arrogant, and so disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways to go about it. And like, I honestly like Bob as a MC. I think he's the best MC. I would love for him to call my name one day, but that's separate to his job, and what he says is two totally different things, So I'm speaking about the way he spoke about the bodybuilders in general. He basically called all of us nobodies. And I'm just sitting up there like nobodies. He sounded like a grown man living in a 2-bedroom apartment with no space. That's how I like it. You're upset about something.
He's upset because he's not Masters Mr. Olympia. He won the Masters Pro World in 2006, which was a show that, in my opinion, bodybuilding.com created for him to win, because he was up against some top talent, Claude Gruel, Pavel Jablonski, Rusty Jeffers, guys that he couldn't have held a candle to anywhere else. But for this show, and the whole crew around, but it's not the same. You have Olympia in there. It makes all the difference in the world. My thing too is that, and I would never advocate violence of any sort. I condemn violence of any sort, but Bob is lucky that Phil doesn't pull a Will Smith on him, because Bob talked a lot about Phil's wife. And since when is that okay? I mean, since when is that okay? Wives, kids, parents, that does not belong in a conversation about, so again, a lot of things. And like you said, the Masters Olympia, he should be an ambassador. He works for Jake Wood, right? Jake Wood didn't bring back the Masters Olympia out of the kindness of his heart. There is a huge amount of interest in Masters bodybuilding and Masters physique-based sports. So he's making money off of that. That's why he brought it back. And Bob's taking a crap on it. That doesn't really, I don't understand how he's able to keep his job this long,
I don't understand how the fuck Bob Cicherillo is still the MC for the Mr. Olympia after an active IFBB pro, Walter Martin, speaks out and gives his take on how it makes him feel as an athlete. Like think about that. It's as awkward, it's embarrassing. And this is the MC for the Mr. Olympia. And Jake Wood and Dan Selman, they have the power to be like, you know what, man, Bob, you're a great MC, but you've crossed the line with Nick Walker, with Regan Grimes, with Hassan, with Phil, with shitting on the Masters Olympia show, saying these guys aren't that good, they don't look that great, like aren't you supposed to be an ambassador for the brand, for the Mr. Olympia? But this is how he talks, and people are like, oh, well, Bob can have his own opinion and be separate MC and have his own opinion. No, man, you're the MC. You're part of the Mr. Olympia brand. It's embarrassing, Bob.
And think about how much money he's made because of his association with the Olympia, like the dumbbell company and all the supplement companies he's worked. If he
Panetta,
wasn't
yeah.
linked to the Olympia, like why would they sign him? Like
I don't know why
because he took
Panetta's
second at the Night of Champions. I mean,
keep it.
like who is he?
Again, he's part of the establishment. Okay, he's been around for decades, and maybe it's hard for them to say, "Hey, Bob, man, you got to go." Right? Sid Farouk, awesome MC, professional, great voice, well spoken. He knows all the athletes. He's funny. He would be a great replacement for Bob Cicherillo at the Mr. Olympia. And guys, go to my Instagram page, Muscle Discord, sign the petition, okay, to get Bob Cicherillo fired as the MC. And now people are saying, "Well, Matt, you're taking it too far." Jimmy Mentis was one of the people that spoke out and said, "Oh, Matt, you're taking this too far." I don't think I'm taking it too far. I'm speaking out. We have an example athlete right here. Phil's already spoken his mind. We know how Phil feels, but I didn't want this to be just Phil and me talking about this. I wanted to bring some other perspective, and I hope the other athlete shows up here for the show so he can give his take.
But let me just say real quick though, but going back to what Walter said though, I mean, Bob crapped on the whole Masters Olympia
He did.
as a title. He wasn't I mean, this needs to be said as well. He wasn't exactly flattering of Dorian either. I mean, he took some shots at
No,
Dorian also.
No.
He took shots at
Yeah.
everybody that competed on that show. So it wasn't like just anti-Phil. It was anti. He even said, "Oh, what did he say? It's a division we don't really particularly like too much." What does that mean? Like, how can you? That's horrible, horrible.
All right, I gotta chime in and say some stuff here.
oh, here we
First
go.
of
We
all,
got
Bob is a very ignorant individual. Okay, so let's just get that out the way. He's a very ignorant individual. I know for a fact, and a very, very reputable person that tells me how he disrespects Jake Woods, that Jake Woods is stupid and dumb, and they only want him around for his money. So if he could say that about the owner of the Olympia, imagine who else he's talking about that's in the upper echelons of power, right? He loved to say, do your research. He always come at Matt about doing your research. And I have to go back because Ron made a statement that I was better at the Tampa and Texas show in 2021. I did side-by-sides, and Patty has posted some pictures side-by-sides that I was much better. He complained about my hamstrings, and my hamstrings is a little bit bigger than when I won that show. I was much bigger and a smaller waist this time around for this show. So Bob, when he was the announcer, you guys could go back and watch the video from Orlando. Unless he is an expert liar, he basically, Hassan was winning by 1 point in prejudging, and he was like, "Oh, Clahar, you came back like you added 4 inches to your chest, and you came back amazing. You were losing, and you just came here and you shut the door." And then when I was on Olympia TV with Tarek, the same thing came out of his mouth. How great I was, should I, since I'm riding so high, do I have an exit plan, so forth and so on. But yet he wants to come on these videos and disrespect me and say the opposite. Oh, skin, whatever. Well, these guys are there. There wasn't no damn loose skin at all at the show. Now, I had my flaws in Orlando, and I still won. But for him to disrespect Hassan like that, and any athletes, it's completely disrespectful. And the hurtful part is just what Martin said. To disrespect the Master Olympia when it has an Olympia brand it's oblivious to me that he even still has a job after he made that video. Because you're disrespecting the president, and the owner of the IFBB Olympia. You're disrespecting him, right? So stop saying do your research. Do your research. I think Bob is upset because he never really accomplished anything. He wish he can do what we're doing at our age and still competing, looking healthy, looking good, and doing our thing. He can't. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, that burns him. So he has to run us down because of that issue, okay? Real quick on Guy. I mean, I'm not going to dig too much into it, but just because you put out a scorecard from 2014 doesn't justify what happened at the Master Olympia. It doesn't justify. All you're telling me is that robbery do exist,
Yes.
but you were just in favor of that robbery when you
There
won.
it is. There
That's
it
all
is.
you're displaying. But here's the magical part. Whose name was on that 2014 head judge list? Steve Weinberger.
Mhm.
Who was the head judge at the Master Olympia? Steve Weinberger. Be careful when you pull out a scorecard with the same head judge and try to justify in your own narrative that it's happened before. So you just told the whole world that corruption do exist because it happened before in 2014.
And Sean and Bob both go and say, "Oh, 2001 Jay Cutler, look what happened to him," and that happened, the point swing. But does it make it right that Cutler got screwed in 2001? Like, come on, they're like giving all these prime examples all the time. People got fucked over by Steve or whoever's judging multiple times. We're like, oh, but it's happened before, so I guess it's an excuse it. It's okay. Like, you guys, that's not a smart strategy. Pointing out all the times people got fucked at these shows, and is that good? Is it a good thing?
I mean,
Is that how you should?
They even cited the 1980 Olympia, which was a fluke, and the biggest fluke of them all was the 81. I mean, Franco was bow-legged, he was all jacked up, he was all injured, and he still won somehow. They talked about 90, which was weird, and 01, which was weird.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're not listen. I don't care what those guys say. History is on our side, or at least on my side, with what I'm saying. If you win the prejudging, if you're dead center at the prejudging and you don't move, you win the show. That's it.
Yeah. Fred Biggy Smalls. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Fred? What's up, brother?
What's up, Phil? How you doing?
Oh wow, how's it going? What a legend.
Yeah, man.
I'm listening to you guys. I mean, we've all seen egregious things happen with the placings, but what I will tell you without a doubt, Phil took his stuff off backstage. I was like, all right, we're fighting for a second, because that didn't look like Phil from 2 years before. That looked like a different Phil. And to me, there wasn't anybody close enough to be a 1 point differential, because symmetry, balance, size, hardness, he had it all. And but as far as bad calls, I mean, 2013 Arnold Classic in Spain, it was Phil and Kai, and every competitor backstage said, "Oh, Kai's destroying Phil," and Phil won. And when we got on the bus, Phil said, "Well, in 2010, I beat Kai, but Kai beat me on the score sheets, right? So what's fair is fair." So I mean, we do see these things happen all the time. Doesn't make it right, but it does happen quite frequently, and it's upsetting, because, like Phil said, it's $10,000 swing in money, and we put our lives at risk. We put our health at risk to look our best for that day. And so it's unfortunate. It's absolutely unfortunate.
And just before we go there, Fred, you competed at the Masters. You were in the top 10, and I think you missed the part where Walter was talking about Bob Cicherillo did an interview on EP09, and he was kind of shitting on the Masters Olympia, saying it wasn't that great. The athletes aren't that great. How do you feel when the voice of bodybuilding, the MC for the Mr. Olympia, he's supposed to represent the brand? How do you feel when you hear Bob talk about the Masters competitors like that?
Well, I think the same way I feel when they talk about how much better the athletes were in previous generations and that kind of thing, because the reality is, you had 7 or 8 guys that are absolute legends, and then you had everybody else, and I think the same thing I told Nick Power and Strength last year when he was covering, or 2 years ago when he was covering the Masters, saying there's no marquee guys, there's no this, no that. Like, we're all pros. A bunch of us have been on the Olympia stage in some way, somehow. And I think it's extremely disrespectful. But, if they covered it the right way, all top 5 guys look great at the Masters Olympia. And, how about this? To be over 40, everybody in great shape, It was a deep lineup, and we all brought it. You know, it was a great show, and the fans there. That's why we're overseas, because the fans there appreciate us more. You know, and it was sold out. It was great.
I've heard that about the Japanese. The Japanese are very, like the Asians, also the Europeans. They're like very, very big into body. The Middle East, huge as well. I did want to say though, real quick, the third and fourth place finisher. I got a couple of people sending me DMs saying I was ignoring them, and I wasn't. I thought they were super conditioned, but in my opinion, I wouldn't have given them the win. But they were very, very dialed in for sure.
Let's not forget about Domenico. I mean, again,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I'm not. Yeah,
oh no, I'm just saying, like, good point. Thanks for
yeah,
reminding me.
yeah.
Domenico was, I mean, it was Phil and Domenico that was prejudging first and second, right? Domenico shredded, looks awesome. Phil was more concerned with Domenico. He wasn't really thinking about Dorian. So the fact that Dorian was able to leapfrog over both Domenico and Phil, come on, it stinks. It smells fishy. And we got to give Domenico credit. So what did Domenico say to you, Phil?
Oh, yeah, I reached out to Domenico, and he was very apologetic. He said he would love to do the show, but he has to have what do you call those guys that,
Translator,
yes, he has to have a translator like every time he goes places, and especially for something like this, which was actually short notice. He would love to have been there, but I mean, I've been talking to him, and he's a great guy. When I spoke to him at the competition, his English is a little, he can't really, you got to really like slow it down for him to understand. But man, I give mad respect to the dude, because I saw him, I knew he was a threat. When I saw him come back at night, I was like, holy shoot. Like, he came in hard, and he's so humble. He was just sitting on the chair. The guy didn't even pump up. That's how hard he was. He didn't even have to pump up. And he came out of the chair, and he came over, and he stood next to me, and he was, asking how old I was. And he's been watching me for a long time, and he just went pro. And he just basically said to me, he said, today is not my day. Your conditioning, you're just much better than me structure-wise. This is your show. It was a privilege to, be here with you. And I will say, no, bro. I said, you're not out of it yet. The way you look right now, I'm letting you know you're not out of it yet. You know what I mean? I really wish he could have been here. But like I said, he needs a translator. But he was a great competitor. Let me tell you something. Like I told on the podcast, and let me make it be clear. I don't ever call a podcast to be on there. Not one time have I ever did that. So when I'm reached out to come on these podcasts, since everybody want to sit here and say, oh, here he goes crying again, they can say what they want. But I'm blowing up every athlete at this show. When I saw every one of those guys pump it up backstage, I said Romania was not like this show. We had way more athletes. These guys all effing brought it. Every single one, even the ones that weren't in the top 10. I'm giving all of them the respect. And I've never said this at all. I didn't say it at Romania, because at Romania, we had great guys, but it was just me, Kamal, and Max Charles. And then we had Biggy Smalls, which is always excellent because he's right there next to me in the battle. And then, of course, we had Ken at the other side. But these guys at this show, I want to give respect to every single competitor at this Tokyo show. They brought it. There was some guys in there very huge, probably their waist was too thick, but it was an honor and a privilege to be able to stand next to these great athletes. That when I sit here and hear, even people on social media, it's masters, who cares? Listen, man, at the end of the day, Fred has competed in the Open. Y'all all know I've been in the Open and battled the best of the best. I don't have Fred's record with all the Olympias and the Arnold wins. But for you to sit there and discredit our hard work, we're doing this. Listen, man, we're on the same shit as these Open competitors, probably not as much. But look at us. At our age, our skin looks good. We look healthy. We look youthful. And we get on the stage and we give our all and spend our hard-earned money to go up there and represent for the Tokyo and everybody around the world. And you have disrespectful idiots, diarrhea of the mouth, and the stuff that comes out of his mouth stinks, like Bob Cicherillo. It's just, it's beyond me that this happens. But I'm telling these athletes, the ones that's here and not here, They brought their freaking best. And Martin, he went through some stuff just to even compete at the show, but I'm not going to say it. It didn't freaking phase this man because I was sitting right next to him at the athletes meeting. What he had to go through to even get in there, for him to still show up and show out at that show, you got to respect it. But nobody knows our story and what we go through. We go through the same things as open competitors. We go through situations in our lives through the prep. We go through the downs and ups and the flaws. With married girlfriends, children, grandchildren. Don't disrespect our hard work because you can't do it. And that's the fact. Because you cannot do it, Bob, don't disrespect it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is what the athletes, so-called the rep, Mr. Olympia, MC, how he speaks about the Masters Olympia. And I don't know, I get why Dan Solomon and maybe Jake Wood, they're keeping Bob around because he's okay at MCing, and you know he's been doing it for so long. It's just easy to keep him around. But there's other alternatives out there that can be more uplifting to the athletes and be more respectful to the athletes and be more professional to the athletes. And Bob, it just isn't that guy anymore. Like, it's just, I don't, if he was in any other job, like if you're a school teacher and you're teaching the students and, you know, you're doing a good job teaching them, but then you go outside and start talking shit about your students, say that guy can't read worth a shit. He looks like, well, like you can't, you'd be fired, you'd be done.
And that's the thing.
He should give us an apology, you know, because that's how I feel. Like, because when I watched that show and I heard him just say how, you know, we weren't anything, like, I'm just sitting up there like, well, damn, like, you really said that? You're really saying this? And it was like, it hurt in the heart, you know what I mean? Because you're supposed to have been this bodybuilding guy for all this time, and then to put us down and to put everybody down. You know, put the show down, not just the competitors, even just the Masters Olympia itself. You know, that's something you should apologize for. Come back to, you know what? I said the wrong thing. This is what I meant. He needs a reverse. Somebody needs to be like, look, you can't say something like that and not have a consequence, you know, connected with it, because you're supposed to be this voice of bodybuilding. You're supposed to be working for the Olympia. The last thing you should do is say how bad the Masters Olympia and who really cares about them. Basically, that's how he put it. Who really gonna call, you know? And then, and I didn't even hear somebody say Pittsburgh called, you know, like, but he said that himself. You know, plus it was 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Of course, they're not calling there and saying that, but he's putting that narrative on there just to try to make it sound better. It's like, don't make up stuff. Just say what you know. And if you don't know, it's okay to have your opinion, but bring it in a little bit, be a little bit more respectful, and just be mindful of what you say, you know, because everybody's watching.
Let me, I was going to say 3 things. Let me say 4 things. The first thing, you know, Bob attacking Masters bodybuilding is not an isolated instance, because if you remember back some years, what does Jake Wood love more than anything? Women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Who is the biggest attacker of women's bodybuilding? Bob Cicherillo. Oh, it doesn't exist. It doesn't have a place anymore. They don't look feminine. Nobody wants to see that. It doesn't make any money. Yada, yada, yada. Now, who's the biggest supporter of women's bodybuilding? Bob Cicherillo. The other thing is, you know, one thing is with EP09 that I kind of have a disagreement with. I don't feel that you can take the MC hat off and put the VOB hat on. I feel like it blurs, it bleeds over. You know what I mean? He's still the MC, but yet he's over here attacking entire federations, attacking Nick Walker. It doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. The other thing is the apology. To, you know, I don't, at this point, first of all, I've never ever seen Bob apologize for anything. And I don't know that he would actually mean it at this point. You know what I mean? So all of those things, I guess it is 3 points, but those 3, and I'll remember the other one later, but those 3 points right there, I don't think that he can apologize. I don't think that, you know, attacking Masters bodybuilding is isolated. He's attacked a lot of people, and yet he gets to keep this job. And it's just, the lines are too blurred for me. Like, a guy like Sadiq would never do any of this. A guy like Lonnie Teeper would
No.
never do any of this.
Mm-mm. I want to. I guess we gotta. Bob is employed by the Mr. Olympia, right? Jake Wood, and Dan Solomon.
Oh, wait,
Keep
one
him
more
where. To,
thing.
okay.
One more thing. I just remember. I'm sorry. And Pittsburgh will never call Bob, ever. If they're going to call anybody, they're going to call Mel, right? They're going to call someone like that, another person that I could mention that I don't get along with. They would call him. They're not going to call Bob. This is a fiction that he's glued into Pittsburgh. It's just that's not true. He also says that he wrote the criteria for women's physique. He says so much crap that he cannot back up.
Yeah. So again, maybe we can go after Bob, but I want to talk directly to Jake Wood. Jake Wood.
Yeah, because
Why? Go ahead. So
my thing is, if you have a brand and you're going to run a show,
yeah,
then why wouldn't you put energy into marketing the show? Because the reality of it, it's a subjective sport. The reality with bodybuilding, it's a subjective sport. So just like when Nick Walker came out and didn't look the best at New York Pro, everybody talked about how bad he was. Then he comes out this year and looks absolutely amazing. All it is how you put the energy behind the athletes. Because if you tell Phil's story, my story, Will's story, if you tell the stories behind the athletes, how we have grandchildren, families, and all this stuff, you know how inspiring that would be to men over 40 who are not in shape, how many more fans you could gain into the sport if you really highlighted the masters athletes that look great at this show to say, we're doing this. What could you be doing with yourself? Like it's a whole opportunity to really grow the sport with the masters division, just like men's physique grew the sport, just like classic grew the sport. Like it's all about the energy. If you talked about classic, all those guys aren't nearly as big as the open. But no, you talk about the aesthetics. If you talked about the men's physique, like, oh, they're not complete. No, but you talk about they look like the best bodies on the beach. It's all the narrative you put behind it. So I just think that the way they disrespect what we're doing, whether it's Nick Power and Strength not covering anything about it until this controversy happened, or the Olympia TV not really talking about it the way they did a couple years ago, like it's not about the marquee names. It's about the story behind what's going on with the show. And nobody's promoting it the proper way. None of them. And if Jake Wood didn't come back from women's bodybuilding was dead. Right?
And
So
yeah. And speaking of promoting it the right way, I personally think anything Olympia belongs with the Olympia weekend. I don't like the Masters like apart from the rest of the Olympia. And I know they're going to say, well, then it's going to be a 10-day event. So let it be a 10-day event. I don't think that the Masters Olympia should be like, separate from the rest of the Olympia personally.
Well, that's how they would get the big names in. Because I was thinking that the other day, they complained. They said, well, these, other guys. Well, first off, these other guys, these top guys that you want, make too much money for $20,000 to tempt them. And it's too close to the Masters Olympia. So I don't see somebody say, you know what, I'm going to take this risk and lose. I'm going to peak at this show or only peak half or, not come in all the way and possibly get beat by somebody else because some of the Masters guys are good. So it's like, put it on that same weekend. If you want those bigger names, that's how they come in. That's how they show up. If you put it with it, I guarantee some of those guys, because they say, okay, I may not have won Mr. Olympia, but I could go over here. It's the next day, make it the day after,
And it goes back to what Phil said also is like knowing how to promote it and promoting it right. I mean, they don't have to put it at the Orleans. They could also put it at the convention center, but make it part of the weekend because you're going to have all the big names in the house already.
Yeah, like to feed off of Fred, man, you have to push longevity. See, that's the key of the Master Olympia, is showing people that, hey, you can still do this after you come out of the open and still be, productive. You have to push the narrative of longevity and health. Just like when me and Kamal did a video, how he's saying, look at the athletes, the young guys are dropping dead left and right. So push the Master Olympia, man, because we're showing you that it can be done safely.
Mhm.
And it can still be done over 40 and over 50 and still, do very well and look excellent.
If
That's all they
anything,
have to do.
if anything, it shuts all the noise up about how bodybuilding is so unhealthy and there's no longevity to it, right? Like you're going to ruin this, you're going to ruin this. You've seen guys up here. I mean, Phil's over 50. I'm right there, getting ready to turn 50. Like, it didn't look like we were half dead up there, or it didn't look like we weren't young and youthful. And, shoot, I mean, I know me, I still did the split and the jump, right? So, but my point is, for all the negativity bodybuilding has taken about it's dangerous, it's not healthy, it's not this, the Masters Olympia is a prime opportunity to displace all that noise.
And also the Masters competitors, in my opinion, if you think about it, like when Mark Lobliner turned pro at the Masters USAs, that was a huge, huge name to have an IFBB pro card. The Masters competitors, you go to, North Americans, you got guys turning pro in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s. I mean, it's endless potential. And people at that age, they already have their careers, they've got good jobs, they're not living in a college dorm room. I mean, they've got money. Wouldn't you want to like cater to that audience, the audience that actually can buy shit? You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't understand. The marketing to me, like you relegate it to this second class status. I don't get that.
It's a missed opportunity. They don't market it. They just announce it and then they just let it go and whatever. And then people are going to show up and that's it. It's a missed opportunity. They can market it and really hype it up and get more competitors to do the show. And but they're missing out on that. But I wanted to say one thing directly to Jake Wood, because he's the one that has all the power here. Not Bob, not the Manions. It's Jake Wood, especially with regards to the Olympia. And I got to ask Jake Wood, are you comfortable with having your MC for the Mr. Olympia speak so negatively about the athletes? We have 2 athletes here, 3, that all have been on the receiving end of, Bob's insults and negativity and, making them feel, less worthy than they should be, especially at the Masters Olympia. Jake Wood, is that what you want representing the Mr. Olympia?
I'm going to give you
Right.
a little bit of pushback. I'm going to give you a little bit of pushback on this one. I don't agree on that one.
Okay.
He's the owner of the Olympia. He's not the final say.
That's what I said. He's for the Olympia.
Okay. No,
Bob,
not for the Olympia either.
he's the owner of the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, but he's not the final say for that either. I'm sorry, he's not.
No, but he could say, I don't want Bob as my MC. Totally could. Why would who's above Jake Wood when he owns the Olympia?
No comment.
You think it's gonna be?
I
think it's
kind of
Jim
agree.
Minion?
I kind of agree with Strength Addicts. It's when you have the face, right, of a company, but they really ain't running the company. There's somebody else that's running the company. It's something like that. I can tell that from what he said to me when I was at Romania. I'm not going to repeat what Jake Wood said to me. And I could also recall his facial expression at this Master Olympia when the decision was made. It's sad. We would assume he has the power. And I think that's why Bob talks about him and call him stupid and dumb, because like Bob knows, like, he really can't say anything. So whatever. But yeah, man, Truth Ethic is correct. It's just he has the money to have the Olympia, but there's other people controlling it.
Now there is one person that owns this show and does whatever the hell he wants, and he's an Austrian guy in Columbus.
Yeah,
but it's not Jake.
I thought about that. I said, if he came out with a master division, how awesome would that be? That would be
good idea.
That would be amazing.
The good idea. Okay, I see the point that you're making, Strength Addicts, with Jake Wood. He just owns the Olympia, but the inner workings, he doesn't really have a control over.
No,
I see what you're saying there.
Jake.
Sure.
No disrespect to Jake.
No,
it's just
not at all.
it's just how it is, in my opinion.
Yes, and I've heard that Bob has, said things about Jake Wood, and he's, I don't know, he's an idiot or whatever. He doesn't know what he's. But
They've
again,
said
this
things
is
about
Bob,
Jake Wood,
right?
and they've said things about Tim Gardner that I won't repeat, but it's pretty common knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I made my plea to Jake Wood. Again, Dan Solomon. What do you think about Dan Solomon in all of this, and not speaking out about even what Bob is doing with the athletes and the negativity that he brings? Is silence an answer?
I just think, I mean, I'm not part of them anymore. I already made some moves. I'm going to let everybody know next year. I already got where I'm going. It's already discussed. I'll make that announcement next year, and I'm very happy that I'm going there. Dan Solomon is Dan Solomon, man. I mean, he's on the same page as the other two guys. I don't want to call their names because they start getting their panties in a twist when I mention names, but Jake loves the fact that Bob is talking with arrogance. I'm sorry. That's just how Dan is. I mean, I watched Dan. Dan is on my Facebook, and Dan knows who I am. And every time I stand in the elevator with this guy, he never acknowledged me. Not one time. Not one. But let Derek Lunsford or whomever be in that same elevator, it's a whole different conversation. I even tried to hold a conversation with him at Tim Gardner's after party at the pool. It's just like their class is here and I'm down here, and people like us doesn't matter. So no, he's not going to do anything about it because he's part of the arrogance. So why should he?
Well, I would chime into that. Like Dan, to me, Dan's always been a friend, and honestly, right now, like my standing with Pittsburgh and all that isn't very good. Uh, people say here, things are there. It's really because of one individual. It's not a person with a last name of Mannion, but somebody big in the Pittsburgh fold does not like me. But Dan's always had my back. Dan's always been a very good friend, and that's why I think Bob is still there. Honestly, not because he's the world's greatest MC or because he's really funny or anything, but because he's Dan's friend. If you are Dan's friend, he'll never turn his back on you. And unfortunately, Bob is not very good at his job, but he's friends with the right people.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate that Bob gets away with what he gets to get away with, and there seems to be no repercussions for it, and it's just embarrassing for our sport.
And real quick
And
before I go, because I can't leave Jimmy Mentis out of this because this character, okay. What gets me with Jimmy is he wanted to talk a lot when he did not get the invite. Thank you, Todd White, because Todd White, that took fourth place, put his name on the invite. Todd White got in and did a remarkable job that Jimmy couldn't have done or came close to. But I think that's another form of jealousy that he has against a master competitor. And honestly, I thought he was a good acquaintance. I never really call people friends when they laugh in your face and talk, and then we all know they talk about you behind your back. But when we did the thing at Ty Pope and all the positivity he was saying and complaining that he didn't get into the Master Olympia, so he had a grudge about that. Because I'm gonna let it out. I don't care. He claimed that Dan Solomon told him that he was in and everything was good, and then they told Dan Solomon no because he is not an active pro bodybuilder. He's been at the game too long, and no, he cannot do the show. So I'm gonna let it out since he wants to come on this and display his arrogance. You know what I mean? Towards me when I reached out to him after the Masters on WhatsApp, and he was fully on board with the fact that I won. It's crazy how people could change their colors because they're Dan Solomon's friend, and now he's riding Bob, and he wants attention. Listen, man, what you have done in the past, which was nothing, you were an attractive guy. You got on tons of magazines because that's what you were, okay? Don't disrespect people because you're unable to do certain things or be able to compete like we are. And don't jump on things and start smashing people like, oh, I had enough. I have to voice my opinion. You don't have an opinion. You're 60 years old, and I respect you for you still training. But don't come out of your face towards me when you were fully on board. I'm not going to even say everything you said because there's so many cowards in this sport that will say things to your face that they support you and love you. But then when they want to get brownie points with these upper people, they'll jump on social media and back people that really don't give two craps about them. Bob don't care about Jim. He don't care about Ron. Bob cares about himself. And if you give him the opportunity to tear you down and trash you, Bob will do it.
You know, one thing too, real quick too, and I'm sorry, but I can't let off on the Ron Harris thing. And I love Ron, and I feel like Ron's the victim here. I'm not trashing on Ron at all. I just, you know, Matt and everybody, I just can't get over how they went after that guy. And I feel like the goal was to get him off this podcast. I know he says he was going to leave and whatever, but the timing of it and that Mr. Nice Guy video, it just seems like it's so wrong. I just can't get over that. I just can't get
Okay.
over that.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify because I have the context behind the Mr. Nice Guy thing. So Ron sent me a message saying I can't stay in the show. I don't think I'm going to lose interviews, and this is my Anyways, and then literally 2-3 hours later, he came out with that Mr. Nice Guy video. And what I said, I wish you the best of luck, Ron. I think you just need to speak your mind and don't be afraid to say what you really want to say, right? And so he came a few hours later with that video, and he admits like, yeah, okay, yeah, you did do that, but I didn't want to
He
mention
conceded
that.
that point. Yeah, he did concede.
Yes, he
that.
did.
So you're not.
I mean, you
just
got to look at
bullshit.
it too. When somebody tells you have no nuts, I mean, that's going to strike a nerve too to make you say, okay, well, I could be a tough guy. I mean, because I think that was insulting that they said to him.
Very.
That's why, like,
Very.
I don't want to go in on Ron because I still somewhat respect him. I just think that he's confused. That's the
Yeah.
word I'm going to use right now. And he's under such pressure because this ain't the Ron I've known for several years. You know what I mean? But for them to disrespect any man and say because he has no nuts, I mean, that's just,
Yeah. They went
You know,
at him so hard, and it really, to me, it still bothers me. Now, I wanted to ask you guys also because I'm not really in the loop. I mean, I kind of come in, I come out, whatever. How would you guys rate the rest of the bodybuilding media with regards to coverage? Has Dave chimed in on this at all, or I'm just curious. Like,
No, I spoke to Dave, but I'm not going to even say what we spoke about. But Dave just got his press passes, so back from he's been, and I think that's what a lot of it is. Some of the people that has press passes, or some of the people which, if they speak out about it, because I'm shocked. Because to me, with everything that was transpired, with everything, this is a big deal. Not just about me, just in general. This is a big deal for people to talk about. Nobody wants to touch it because they know they'll get blacklisted. That's just how it is.
Well,
yeah,
we
when
got
I
some
because
comments.
first got
I was
into,
telling Matt, I was telling Matt and you, I was like, I was shocked because like knowing Dave, how I know him, I worked for him. I would have thought he'd have been asking you and Bob to do Iron Debate or something, but it seems like that's not in the cards.
No.
So
We got some comments.
breaking
We
up,
got
man.
Ben Garcia.
You're breaking up, man.
Okay.
you're breaking up a little bit.
Good
It's probably
now?
'cause you're in Canada.
Yeah. I'm in my igloo here.
That Canada
okay, hold on,
podcast.
back now. Okay.
Yeah.
That podcast up in Canada. You got Ben Garcia saying, Phil, are you burning just with Jimmy Mentis? No.
Am I what?
You did it with Ron and burning bridges.
No, I'm not burning any bridges. I mean, I already had a back and forth with Jimmy already online. I'm just stating the fact. I'm not trying to start a war with Jimmy. I'm just saying that Jimmy was a full supporter of me. I mean, he made a statement. Go back and watch the video of Ty Pope. I'm living through Phil, for this show because basically I wasn't allowed to go. You know what I mean? And then he was like, what was I thinking to compete against this guy? I wasn't trying to go to win, but you just, all you got to do is do your research. Like everybody wants to come at Matt talking about do your research. Go back and watch videos. And I just came at him because I'm like, why are you showing your face when me and you spoke on the phone and this was not the person that was talking online? So no, I'm not trying to cause any problems or go at him like Bob. Going at Bob's a different story. I already destroyed his battleship. If he comes back, I'm going to take his whole island. So I'm done with Bob. But no, this is not me starting anything with Jimmy. I'm just stating the fact that I believe Jimmy is a very good guy. He has a great wife, a great family. But I was just shocked. Why chime in this whole time when all this going out? Me, I was like, you know what? Phil is my friend. Bob is I'm staying the hell out of it. I'm not saying a word. That's what I would have done.
And again,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because Phil and Jimmy disagree, like neither, I mean, this is nothing against the people in the comments, but neither one, I don't think, is trying to like burn a bridge. It's just
Yeah.
like, people are allowed to disagree.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
when I
sorry,
first got into bodybuilding, I'm going to speak about Ron for a second. When I first got in, he was like my superhero because he was covering everything at all the shows. And I just remember watching him and I'm like, damn, I would love to do what he's doing. And he was always a good commentator, good speaker. And I've spoken to him a lot of times. I mean, I can't call us friends, but I've always really looked up to him. So I'm sad to see him not do this show because I think he was good on it. I mean, he's a man, he could do whatever he wants. But I definitely enjoyed watching him on this show. I've enjoyed watching Phil. I used to, even getting ready for the Masters, I was watching everybody doing cardio because, you got 2 hours of cardio trying to get this fat off my back, so I'm sitting there watching the shows and I look forward to it. Sometimes I wouldn't watch it at night just so I can watch it during my cardio. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed Ron on here and I watch his show also. But like, it's just, it's sad to see him not on here. I'm not in the mixer, because I call myself Mr. Nobody when it comes to bodybuilding. I don't really know the people. Nobody knows me, so nobody's going to come after me because there's nothing there,
Well, I know you because I remember when I saw you in Orlando, you came up to me because you said it at the Masters. You don't remember, you do. I do. This gentleman came up to me and said, because of me, he came back out of retirement. And I believe he's doing an excellent job. But that's why I do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? At my age, is to give influence to everybody out there that's 40 and above to know that they can still do something if they truly want it and they have the heart to do it. So you are somebody. Never use that word, I'm nobody. Everybody is somebody and very special in their own unique way.
Yeah,
and talking to you
Well,
at the
I'll tell
Masters,
you.
I got a lot of respect for you.
Yeah, when they said your age, that's what I was like. When they said your age, I was sitting at home and I was like, well, damn. I was like, all right, because I'll be 49 next month. So I was like, I could still do it, even though I just, had a different surgery. I was like, you know what? I could do it. It took me 2 years to come back, but I was like, all right. And then I was super happy that I got to meet you because I saw you. Because, like, I'm a fan of every bodybuilder. You know what I mean? Like, because even Mr. Dancer over there, he's one of my favorite body. Like, I was
Best
talking to
poster,
him
man, in the
backstage.
world.
Man, look, because I enjoy. I wish I had just a 10% what he had, like the confidence. Because me in the stage, like my first show, I ran off the stage. I spent 10 seconds on there and damn near fainted, ran off, got the video, never watched it. I still have the video sitting on my dresser, 15 years later, and it was the Dave Lieberman show, a natural show. I still have the video, never watched it. And I look at it all the time and I tell myself, I'm going to watch it one day. I'm going to watch it one day. We don't even have VCR. We don't even have a VCR now. So I probably.
Did you get one of those giant trophies that Dave gives out? They're huge.
Man, yes, I got several all in my gym. I did his show and I got the first show, I got fourth. And then I turned around and won it in October because I did one in the spring. Then I turned around and won it in October. And then everybody thought I was on steroids. I got big lumps on my ass, and they're still there. And I remember Dave, I had to go take a lie detector test and do all this other stuff. And now that I look back at it, I said, man, it's a $5 trophy. I drove an hour to go take a lie detector test to keep this trophy, and then he saw me 2 years later when I did jump on and he came on because you know how your first time you gain all this weight. I gained like 20 something pounds. I went from 187 to 217. And he came up and he said, now I can see you wasn't on it. And I was like, well, give me my gas money back.
Well, I met you backstage for the first time and you call yourself Mr. Nobody. Your story needs to be heard by everybody because it's inspiring and what you've come through and what you actually like. If they put that out there, people would want to follow and understand more about, because that mindset for you to get on stage is second to none, brother. I'm telling you, you inspired me backstage. And then Phil, when you won in Orlando and beat Hassan, I was like, oh shit, I can still do this. I can still
Mhm.
do this. So Phil, you inspired a lot of people without even knowing it, brother. So
I
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
it,
And
man.
it
Especially
goes
coming
back.
from a legend, especially coming from a legend like you. I really appreciate it. And that's like when
that's
I did
serious.
this show and I was asking if everybody wants me to do the Masters. I mean, you were the first to say, let's run it back. So yeah,
Yeah,
man, I appreciate you, man. Always.
And it goes
definitely.
back to what Phil is saying too, like the stories of each competitor, because everybody's like looking at, oh, is Brendan Curry going to do a William Bond? But it's the stories of each competitor. If they somehow, could give that to the people, I mean, it'd be a blockbuster.
Look, you're
They can
only
make
one
reels. They
show.
can make
You're
reels,
you're only
spotlights.
one show from blowing up. Because let me tell you, look at where William Bonek was
Right.
years ago.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
was working with the coach, and the coach is telling him, "You just don't have it anymore." He switches coaches and goes to somebody else. And what he won 2 shows this
A whole
year,
bunch of shows. Yeah, yeah. The last
back in the
couple of years.
Olympia. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're only as good as your last show, but you're only one show away from being big time
Right.
again. And the thing
Yeah.
is, any one of us on that stage that's in the top 10 is, symmetry's there, conditioning was there, size is there. There's no reason for anybody to disrespect us.
I have
Absolutely.
one. Yeah, I have one question, and I know we're over the hour, Matt.
It's
Can I
okay.
ask one question?
Yep.
And I just want to ask Phil this point blank, and I hate to, everything is so happy now. I hate to like make it go negative.
You about to mess it up, bro. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mess it up. But with all this talk of Bob telling Phil to retire, Phil, do you feel that Bob is trying to run you out of the sport?
Well, first of all, I don't give a crap what Bob thinks or what Bob says because I've already proved it not even 2.5 weeks ago that
Right,
I don't need to retire. He said
right,
that when I had a bad showing in Tampa, I spilled over, whatever the case may be. He said it then. He wants me to retire because he's tired of seeing me continue to be great.
right,
Bob don't have the room to tell any pro bodybuilder of any level that they need to retire when he's not active nor in shape nor training. So I don't know how he got the contract with or whatever contract he got with that equipment company. Now his
right.
word doesn't matter. He's been telling certain people should be retired. I mean, he even made a comment which I think is disrespectful. I mean, I am a friend of Dorian's as well, and he said, "Oh well, Sean and them said, well, Dorian don't need to do the show. He might as well. I don't even know why he's going. Like,
Exactly.
Outrageous. That's
It's just
terrible.
crazy. It's what?
Terrible. Terrible.
Shit.
Yeah. It's not promoting, it's not building up the sport at all. That negativity is not good for the guys that are at the top. It's not good because they do the same thing to them.
yep,
They
Yeah.
do the same thing to them, and the thing is, like, these guys that are in the top 10 now, I mean, sure, they got fans, they got and everything, but these people, they're people, and they treat us like
Yeah.
commodities, right? Like they say whatever they want to say about us, but that's the sport. When I stopped worrying about what people said was when I watched somebody tell Phil Heath, if you hit your pose like this, you'll do better. And I said, well, if they can judge him and criticize him, they can criticize me. It's all good, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say too with Ron. I mean, it's sad to see Ron go. He did 8 episodes on the show, and leaving under those circumstances is unfortunate. That's the reason why I had Ron on the show is because he's got that experience. He's been doing this for so long. He has interviewed everyone. He's been on the ground at the local shows doing the interviews. So with the muscular development. So I just
And you guys
it's
had
just
great
kind of
chemistry
weird.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
yeah,
were
Definitely.
yeah.
building. We were building up. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be missed. He definitely will be missed. There's nothing against Ron, man. I understand his
No.
position, but he will be missed.
Definitely. Before I forget, I put it in the title. Is Phil Clahar going to sue the IFBB Pro League?
I'm seeking a lot of different things, honestly.
Mhm.
I'm not going to display it. I mean, I'm not. Listen, at the end of the day, I want everybody to understand. It's about the principle of something being done that's wrong that needs to be rectified and not just covered with dirt or be thrown to the side. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to help someone out there that's thinking about competing in the NPC and moving on to the pro league. I tell my clients straight up when they come to me, They say, I want to go pro. I said, you need to think twice about that, but I'm not doing that to discredit or making you feel bad. I said, because if you think you're going to make any money in a pro league, if you're not going to be the top 10, the top 12 in the world, you're not going to make anything. So I'm working on a lot of things. I'm even reaching out to TMZ, but I'm not going to just let this just go. And once again, this is not because I'm upset and bitter and all. No, what's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. I gave the judges an opportunity to do their video with pictures to prove what they're saying and justify what they said. They haven't done it. They can't do it because what they said was not true. You know what I mean? So I gave Steve, Sandy, Tariq, all the opportunities to get on here and prove why you scored me the way you did. This is about the scorecards. The hell with the placing. This is all about the scorecards and only 3 hours. We don't want to talk about the Olympia. That's 2 days. 3 hours. We're not talking about when Guy Sistinino competed and you compete, you do prejudging at 11 and then you come back at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. Back then, we're talking about 3 hours and we're talking about the scorecards. So I'm going to continue to push this issue until this gets resolved. And like I said, I'm not doing it just for me. I just want these athletes, every single athlete, to be able to compete under their umbrella, because I'm no longer under their umbrella, to feel that their hard work and dedication is going to reap the benefits of the time they put in and not be judged because someone, one, don't like your physique, don't care for you because you said something. This is not part of the criteria of judging for the IFBB Pro League. There's a criteria that they're supposed to follow, okay? Not put their personal feelings and screw people because of that. So that's why I'm pushing the issue. That only is the reason. So I'm tired of people talking about crying and all that. Nobody's crying. We're talking about the scorecards and we're talking about 3 hours. And all I wanted was for one of those three to make their video like respectfully, like Tyler Mannion, which I respect him every time for that. They can't do it because I want them to explain, not just me, the top 5 like Tyler does. And then they can make their, but they're not going to do it because there's no proof.
Why don't they do that? It's great for social media. Why don't they do that? It's great for social media. You get to make these videos recapping the top 5 and why they placed where they did. It's like they're missing out. Tyler's doing it. He's young. He's got the right idea, but missing out because Steve doesn't like to do it. I don't know, or he's afraid to do it. It's just weird. It's just really weird. The lawyer on the panel. What do you think? Does Phil have a case?
Well, like I told him, I wouldn't go that route. I don't think that I think it would be very difficult, but I mean, listen, in America you can sue a ham sandwich. I mean, but the question is, can you win, But again, I would probably say I would not go that route, but
Didn't Jay Cutler do
it's
that?
very hard to prove. It's very hard to prove. I mean, it's a subjective sport. I don't think the prejudging is as subjective as people lead on. I think the subjectiveness comes in the finals, which is where somebody can get screwed over. I think the prejudging is pretty black and white. Pretty straightforward. You've got your mandatory poses. If there's any discrepancy, you pose the guys again and again and again until you get it right. I don't really think the prejudging is that subjective, but I mean, that's, I guess, up for debate.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think they did the right thing for the prejudging. I don't know what hell went wrong with the finals.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. I did have a phone call with Steve, and I'm not gonna mention exactly what Steve said, but Steve knows what he said to me. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is the inner workings. This is what happens, right? And a lot of people in the general public, they don't know this. But when I had Nathan Diasha on the show, and it's regards to the Dubai Pro Show where Nathan plays 4th or something, and Nathan came on my show and he says I should have won, whatever. After that show, Steve Weinberger called me and he laid into me. He used a lot of foul language, said a lot of not choice words about Nathan Diasha. Okay, this is the head judge for the IFBB Pro League, and I was surprised that I'm in the media. You're calling me, talking to me with this language, screaming at the top of your lungs, that your displeasure about me interviewing Nathan and letting Nathan speak his mind. Steve was not happy about that. So I just want people to know that that's the Steve I know, I had Steve on my show. He was great, kind, friendly, right? Great interview. Took time out of his day to do that right before the New York Pro last year. And for Steve to ream me out on the phone because of an interview I did with Nathan Diasha, I just think it's uncalled for. And I think some of the power has gone to Steve's head. Steve's got 50 years of experience judging. I'm not going to, criticize his judging. Is he perfect? No, of course not. He's human. Does he have some bias here and there? Are there politics involved in bodybuilding? Yes, there is. Okay.
Well,
so it is what it is there. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I got nothing against Steve personally, but it's just like for him to do that. And then he takes the Guy Cicherillo video and shares it in his story. I mean, well, okay, Steve, well, two can play that game. Two can play that game, Steve. I ain't afraid of Steve. I ain't afraid of anybody in the league or anyone. I don't work for none of these people. So I don't give a fuck about what they do or what they say. They can continue to do, clear their smear game or their tactics and try and discredit me. But I'm here. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep growing and do what I do. And I get a lot of support. Even before this live stream, I got people DMing me, man, saying, Matt, keep doing what you're doing, brother. And these are big names in the industry. So I'll keep doing what I do. And if you don't like me, then don't watch me. But for the people that do support me, thank you for all of your support. Go ahead.
If I could just jump in real quick. I mean, Nathan is a guy who's been royally screwed over and over again.
Yep.
One of the most outspoken people, but at the same time, one of the biggest pro federation guys, goes to Pittsburgh, grows the pro league and all sorts of stuff. I'm also not afraid of Steve. I do respect him a lot. I interviewed him at his gym in New York. In all fairness, I mean, look, politics is politics, but if you put politics aside, Steve should be that number 2 spot, not Tyler. I mean, if we're going to be honest, but he plays the game. He plays the game, and he's a loyal soldier. But I mean, really, honestly, it should be him that is the next one to take over everything. But it's not going to be him. So,
And we need to get AI. They need to get AI, the hybrid version, where you have the judging and the AI, because AI has no emotions. That's what I did with a lot of these pictures. I think I know Dan Sonneman is big on talk about technology with the whole flaring lights and all that stuff. Well, they need to step up. I mean, we are stepping in a new age. And honestly, we need a judging criteria where there's no human emotion at all. And it can be judged depending on the criteria. So hopefully down the road, they can do both. They can have the AI hybrid as well as the regular judges. And I believe the scores should be up on the backboard. I don't want paper where you could change things. The score should be where everybody can see it for prejudging and where everybody can see it for finals, not after the show.
Okay, strength addicts.
I'm not nodding no. I'm not nodding no that I disagree. I'm nodding no, Phil, that we all know that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, of course not. That's taking their jobs away. Of course not. I mean, Jesus. But it'd be fun to have that. I'm going to start cross.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm going to start cross-referencing the judges' picks versus what AI picks after the show's done, and kind of do some homework on that and see if they're in line with the judges or if they're off with the judges. But it's not good. I'm sure we're going to get some phone calls or I'll get some phone calls after this one, but it is what it is. Like, someone needs to stand up and speak out. And I'm glad, Phil, man, you're doing it, and you've been doing it. And you were doing it when you were a pro, an active pro in the league, right? And now you're still continuing to do it. So I appreciate that, brother. And strength addicts, you too. You speak out. You're not afraid.
I love Strength Addicts. That guy. I love watching your clips, man. You're freaking awesome. Your clips is insane, man.
Ooh.
Comedian, little comedian over there.
Who's that?
You.
Oh, yeah.
You.
But every day, tomorrow it's going to happen. And the next day, people are going to be like, I wonder if today Phil's going to stop talking about this. And here's the thing. It's not going to be any less wrong next month or next year or 5 years down the road. You know what I mean? People are waiting for it to, it's never going to be any less wrong,
Yeah. And Fred and Walter, man, you guys are, brave in a sense for coming on, especially if you're going to continue to compete.
I didn't know.
What are your thoughts?
I didn't know this was about any, what it was about. I'm just here because, I love Phil, and me and Phil.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
And Toki, what I'll say is, and I got to put this out. My interactions with Steve have been positive. Of course, I've been on that stage and I got the calling I want. but we know that's part of the sport.
Yeah.
I think what happens here is, you know, for me, it was clear as day. I'm just leaving it at this. For me, it was clear as day. Phil won. And the bad part for me and seeing all this is it kind of reminds me what happened like years ago when Mark Alvisi beat Essa Elba or whatever his name was in Dallas, and it like ruined his feeling amongst the fans because they felt like he got a gift. And I feel like that can be the same thing for Dorian right here because the fans look at the videos, the people know and feel like Phil won. The majority of people feel like Phil won. So the backlash and the person getting hit by this also is Dorian
Yeah.
because he's sitting there going, I didn't make the call, but now he can't even enjoy the win because the majority of us feel like Phil won. So if it's not the right call, a lot of people get hurt in that perspective, you know.
That,
And the thing is, but what I would say is, you know, what I can appreciate about Steve is you call him up, he'll take a look at your physique, he'll give you his feedback, and you know, but we all know what it is to be part of the MPC, the IFBB, and you know, again, I'm on here because I support Phil because I love Phil. I think he's great. He's a great competitor. I got nothing bad to say about the IFBB or the MPC, and the reason why I say that is I made a great living. I wasn't a top 10 guy at the Olympia, but I had a niche that allowed me to pose and perform over the entire world. And I've been in the top 5 over 15 times. So from that perspective, it's done great for me. And it's allowed me to a bigger platform to train and help a lot more people. So I got a lot of respect for the IFBB. I got a lot of respect for the MPC.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm on here because I support Phil and I thought that he did win that show. But in no way am I saying anything bad about the organization that's given me a way and ability to make a lifestyle.
And no, I'm not. I'm just shitting on the entire organization or anything. Like I love the
I don't wanna be
IFBB
part
Pro
of
League
that.
and I love the Olympia and I'm a fan of the sport and that's why I do
I mean,
this every day.
you've done contest coverage also. I mean, if you didn't
Yes.
love it, you wouldn't be there.
Exactly.
You know?
So I don't want people to think I'm just like I hate. No, there's every organization has there's little fixes that need to be done, and we can see them clear as day with some of the judging. So that's all I'm talking about here.
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, what did I say all year? They've been nailing it with the judging.
Yeah,
all
me too.
year, nailing it. So the corporation in itself, it's good.
Yeah.
But sometimes when things are good, we just got to fix some of the things that's lacking to keep it good and keep it great. You know what I mean? IFBB Pro League is a very damn good company and an MPC worldwide. I've always said that. You know what I'm saying? And always owned up to my faults and my wrongs. And I did that with Tampa. Emailed Tyler, sucked it up. I was wrong. Let it go. You know what I mean? But there's little niches that need to fix. Other than that, the league is great and it's really helping people build and take care of their family. And I'm fully on support with that. So no, man. And Fred is right. He just came on here just for the fact to speak on my behalf. He has nothing negative at all about the IFBB Pro League at all. 100% he does not. But I respect him coming on here. I respect Martin.
Yeah.
I respect you, Strength Addicts. Of course, you already know, Matt, I respect you. You took a lot of heat back in the truth for me. Yeah. And it's sad. It has to be done that way. You know what I mean? And I'm sad that Guy decided that he needed to do that for whatever apparent reason. I know that because of hostile for what? I think that's why he's bitter with you. It's been that way ever since.
Yes, I know. That's okay.
But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is what it is. We do what we love to do. We are great at doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. You guys keep killing it on stage and doing your thing. Next year, I'll be blessed to step on another federation stage. I don't have to re-qualify as an amateur and I'm able to go right in, get my pro card, and compete. I will let everybody know next year. I have a very special person that's probably going to be right next to me, not saying no names. So we'll see.
Okay, and I want to end off with a message to Bob Cicherillo. There are a few bad apples in the league, and Bob Cicherillo is one of them, in my opinion. And Bob, you need to stop insulting the athletes. you need to stop disrespecting the athletes and mocking the athletes. Be better, right? I know the Manions or whoever the power that be are probably not going to get rid of you right now. But I hope this brings somebody to what you've been saying and the snide comments and the condescending remarks that you make to these athletes. It's very clear you do it, and it needs to stop. I'm going to stick up for the athletes if no one else is. I feel there's people on here, everyone else is sticking up for the athletes, but it just needs to stop. It's embarrassing for our sport. You're an embarrassment to our sport, in my opinion. And I don't know what's gotten into you. You're tarnishing your legacy as a good MC by being this asshole, this big mouth, loud mouth, annoying, obnoxious guy that no one really likes. So that's what my kind of final message to Bob Cicherillo is just to shut the fuck up.
All right, guys. Thank you very
All
much,
right,
man.
we'll
I
leave it there.
appreciate all of you guys
All right,
for
guys.
All
coming
right, thanks for
on.
having me.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Peace. See you guys.